Yes, y'all, your favorite nerdy girl is back, Nerdy Girl Reviews, and we are reviewing Justice League on HBO Max. Stay tuned for my commentary. If you'd like to see the full video, link in bio. I'm available on YouTube. Also, I'm available on sofitaforyoursoul.com if you want to catch my other quick commentary. Stay tuned. All right, y'all, before we move on, tell me I didn't do Wonder Woman justice. Yes, tongue in cheek, justice. Anyway, I thought I'd go for this comic book aesthetic. I think I did, yeah, I did a good job. I think. I like to be creative in a multitude of ways. So, not just my comments, but my makeup artistry. Anyway, let's jump into this 2021 version. Yes, so we have the Zack Snyder's cut 2021. I'll do some quick comparisons to the 2017 version. 2017's version of Justice League was directed by Joss Whedon, sorry. And if the name sounds familiar, he is the creator behind Buffy the Vampire Slayers on the WB, the series. Now, I was a big fan of that show for years. I mean, I want to say, a lot of those characters were beloved. But to know that he was the 2017 director for Justice League and the amount of flack that it got, in specific, targeting specifically when it comes to representation. For some reason, a lot of other reviewers on here on YouTube have mentioned that the 2017 version really didn't focus on a lot of people of color, which is wow. So maybe perhaps that's why we saw characters like Cyborg and his backstory were kind of, cut, so to speak. Like it wasn't the main focus, and for the 2021 version with Zack Snyder, it was much more fleshed out. Now, I don't know if that was done intentionally. Perhaps they thought they'd go through another route and that it would be much more well received, but it really wasn't. There were a lot of missing puzzle pieces to this film. That's why it got abysmal reviews. Sorry to say. Also, I want to make a focus on Wonder Woman's character. For some reason, in the 2017 version, she was much more objectified as opposed to just being well received amongst her own superhero kin. Much more like a comrade, as opposed to the beautiful beauty that nearly everybody who should have her back is just drooling at the sight of her. In the 2017 version, there's the scene with Aquaman where he happened to sit on Wonder Woman's lasso of truth, and he confesses like this schoolboy crush on her, which in the 2021 version was completely just slashed out. So again, it wasn't relevant. It wasn't there wasn't a point to it in the story. Just for what purpose necessarily, I don't know. Some awkwardness that we don't really comprehend, other than the fact that yes, Wonder Woman is beautiful, but if she is supposed to be well received and this is supposed to be like a brother sisterhood kind of thing, why are they all drooling over her? We don't understand. So there's that. For this particular 2021 version, there's the presence of our Amazonian queens, which I loved. But one side note that I will say that though it's great to see all these actresses that we recognize from Gladiator and The Princess Bride and House of Cards and all that, can we see much more people that would typically be more Amazonian, be at the helm of these particular tribes? I want to say, can we see much more olive tone skin people? Like something that looks like this. Be at the helm, these beautiful warriors. I'm just saying, because, we're kind of getting used to this aesthetic and we're not really seeing much change, right? We have, what is it? Is it Got? Games of Thrones, yeah, that acronym, nonetheless, like, again, all the ladies look very fair skinned. Can we have a little bit more diversity and dimension? Come on, we already have Hamilton on Broadway. Let's see much more diversity in Hollywood. Thank you. I will say that the visuals were breathtakingly beautiful. Again, in comparison to the 2017, I did see some snippets in terms of like the villains, Steppenwolf and Kilowog. But I want to say that the 2021 version, Zack Snyder's version, it's much more steel-like, much more menacing, which I applaud. Like, that to me honestly stands out. Also, from what I gather, the soundtrack, certain scenes were like muted for whatever reason. That just doesn't, like, it doesn't rev up people. But Zack really did a great job in revving up people. We want to hear, like, riffs in a guitar when they're about to go in, because that's our charging music. Like, charge, you know what I mean? So I want to say that. Also, yeah, what was up with the whole objectification of poor Wonder Woman? I mean, from what I hear also online, that there were particular scenes that our leading lady didn't feel very comfortable in shooting. There were close-ups of her derriere, which, again, what was the purpose? How does that move the story along? That she even refused to shoot certain particular scenes, and they had to get a stand-in, a double, to kind of be her butt double, which, again, what was the purpose to that? But nonetheless, I will say, we revisit what Zack's intention was for the 2017 film, which, again, he had to bow out because of family emergency. That's why we didn't ever really see this cut till now. And I want to say that he stayed true to not only the inclusion of people of color, but there was an homage. Us, film fanatics that remember our character actors, much like Joe Morton, who plays Silas Stone, who is Cyborg's dad. Now, if you remember his face, he's very familiar to us, rabid fans of Terminator, the Terminator series. And he wanted to pay homage to him in this film because in the first 2017 version, Whedon's version, his character was rather minuscule and it really didn't play much into the story. Now, this version, we see why father and son are so estranged, what his father had to do in order to kind of push his son along, that he used one of the motherboard's energy to basically kind of bring him back to life, like in a kind of Frankenstein kind of way of, it was all for the love of the science and also to keep the son alive. So there's empathy that is developed in those particular scenes. And then his demise, I want to say again, if you remember Terminator 2, he dies the same exact way. And I think that was a nod of Zack that he wanted to make a point in 2017's version, but that got cut for whatever reason. And now it's reinstated and it makes much more sense to us fans. It's like, we know what you're doing, and yes, Terminator, yeah, we're all fans. And it made sense. And I gotta say, for nothing, but Joe has not aged. Like, he looks exactly almost the same. A little much more mature, but I gotta say, man, like, we remember you, and God bless. Yes. So, moving this along, I will say that this version is a lot much more brutal in terms of violence. And though it was a little hard to kind of see Wonder Woman be brutally kind of like smashed up against a wall, and so does her Amazonian sisters or sisterhood. You kind of, in the same sense, understand, because if they have this super power strength, of course it would make sense. They're all kind of getting their ass whooped by the villain, but I mean, they're gonna have to fight tooth and nail for those mother boxes, right? Because it unleashes all types of hell. From what I gathered, though, that in reinstating these particular pieces in the film, that it's speculated that Snyder will explore this into a series. So moving forward with HBO, I believe that they're either filming, they're already filming, or they're moving into a series for the Green Lantern. And so we'll see how Kilowog will be featured, will be one of the featured villains, and we'll explore that backstory a lot more in the series. But other than that, yes, I'll say that I was impressed. It is a 4-hour film, which is a little hard to digest, just because we're in the day and age that we're just so used to our cell phones. And 4 hours, I don't know if I can honestly sit in a theater for 4 hours. I think I would have appreciated if they would have kind of split it up, more of like you would see a series on Hulu or Netflix, like a 4-part series. But 4 hours straight, I don't know. It was a little much, that I will say. But if it meant that the story was much more impactful, then, so it's kind of give and take. But from what I will say, though, is that moving forward in terms of summer programming for HBO and Zack Snyder, so we already have seen the teaser and trailer for Army of the Dead, which is set to release in select movie theaters on, I believe, May 14th. And on May 21st, we will see the release of it on Netflix, which I'm very happy to check out on Netflix. But again, these streaming services, they all kind of share content, so one will move into the other. Just like HBO will have the Green Lantern, we have this movie as well on Netflix. I'm excited to catch it out, because to check it, because we have such a multi-ethnic cast from a multitude of shows and coveted shows that we all have followed. We have Omari Hardwick from Power. If you were a fan of Ghost, come on, so we're gonna see him flesh out those those guns, so to speak. We have Ella Purnell. I believe she also had a small series on Stars, which I really liked her acting in that particular film. Series. We have Ana de la Reguera Cruz. I've also seen her in a number of Mexican films, as well as crossover films like Nacho Libre and whatnot. We have Raul Castillo from Little Fish, as I mentioned before. And we have Dave Bautista, who's going to be the main lead. So again, I believe the whopper here that we're all kind of anticipating, unlike any other zombie movie, because this is what it is, it's a zombie heist kind of movie, which is already extraordinary in itself. But the fact that the zombies are smart, they're not like just like walking around like, and wanting to eat brains and whatnot, that they're actually quite savvy. So I'm interested in seeing how this is going to work out in this film. From what I've heard in the rumor mill, it's leading up to prequels, but I think animated. So we'll see. I'm excited. I'm excited to see our Latinos working. I want to see much more Latinos out here. There's a lot more films that are going to be making its debut on HBO Max that I want to be reviewing. In Heights is one. So we'll see. We'll see how all these other Latino projects are coming into fruition. And if you liked my reviews, give me a like, leave me a comment in the comment section, and stay tuned for my other upcoming stuff. Until next time, and till next time, XOXO, Nerdy Girl.